Gold is up over 30% in 2024, and it could still move higher before year end. If we take a look at my Thackeray's 2024 Investor's Guide, we can see there's two strong seasonal periods for gold. One's from July 12th until October the 9th, and the other one's from December 27th until January 26th. This one's just a few weeks away. And what drives this seasonal period is the large purchases from Chinese consumers heading into Chinese New Year. Now, Chinese consumers having large purchases of gold this year, helping to keep the gold price high, so there could be even more buying coming up as we approach Chinese New Year. To see what's happening with gold right now, I want to go back to 2016 when Donald Trump was first elected. Now, of course, there are some differences, but there are some similarities. So let's take a look and see what happened with gold. We can see when Donald Trump was elected in early November, gold actually went down, and it went down quite a bit and quite fast. If we take a look at the yield on the 10-year Treasury note, it went up, and it went up a lot very quickly. So it's not only direction that matters, it's also magnitude. And we saw that move up very sharply here into mid-December. And the same with the US dollar, went up fast, and then it started to roll over in mid-December. Now, the combination of the higher, the rally in the 10-year yield plus the US dollar heading higher, those two, when they're both going up quite a bit, that's very difficult for gold to overcome. So we saw the gold head lower. Now, the yield on the 10-year Treasury note peaked in mid-December, and the US dollar peaked in mid-December as well. Then started to roll over, and as they started to roll over, gold actually started to perform well once again. There's a lot of similarities with this, with what's being taking place right now, and what happened in 2016, and I'll show you that in just a minute. I want to take a look at where we are today. Take a look at the last couple years, because we've seen some early entry signals showing that gold was improving its technical profile heading into its strong seasonal period. So let's go back to 2022. We saw gold bottom in early November. RSI, it did have a crossover here below 30 and above in September, but that's out of the window really where we're taking a look. Usually we're saying the strong seasonal period starts on a certain date, and 6 to 8 weeks before that we're starting to consider the technical signals for that. And that was a little bit early, but the full stochastic oscillator went below 20 and came above. We saw a crossover here below 20 actually, and it came above 20, and that was a buy signal, indicating that perhaps gold could start its strong seasonal period early. And that's what happened. We did see gold actually perform well right into the end of January, which is the end of a strong seasonal period for gold as well. And then we saw it go down, up and down. It actually was lower coming into October, and we see in October it put a bottom in. And look at the RSI here. It went below 30 and became oversold, and then crossed back over 30. So we started to see improving price momentum. So this triggered a buy signal. And if we take a look at the full stochastic oscillator, it went below 20, and then we had a crossover, and then it came above 20 here. And it also triggered a buy signal. So the two of these together is a good indication of improving price performance. And the RSI is more important, but when they're together, that's a little bit more important together. If we take a look at where we are today, we can see here that coming into 2024, we saw at the beginning of the year, gold was fairly flat, had a rally in the springtime. Now, that's unusual for gold to do well at this time of the year, which indicated that gold really had some underlying strength here. There's other things going on. We saw consolidation. And then in a strong seasonal period from July until October, we saw gold actually perform well. It started to pull back at this point here. We'll go into that in a second, why it's pulling back. But the RSI is down to almost 30 here. And then, so it's just almost oversold. And then the full stochastic oscillator has become oversold, and it's just starting to turn higher with a crossover below 20, triggering a possible early buy signal. So we're starting to see some improving price performance or price momentum, very early signs for this, but it is an indication that that is taking place. Two of the other variables I'm watching right now to help determine the direction, magnitude of gold rally, or even if it does come down, or to determine the inflection points, are the yield on the 10-year Treasury note and the US dollar as well. Now, gold can do well when either one of these is increasing. We've seen that even in 2024. It's when they both go up and they both go up fast. That's a very challenging environment for gold. So let's take a look. So earlier this year, we did see gold go up in the springtime. At the same time, the yield on the 10-year Treasury note was increasing, and the US dollar was also increasing as well. That was really showing the strength of gold. But then we saw the yield on the 10-year Treasury note go head lower, US dollar head lower, and gold was actually flat for a while. And then it started to head up here a little bit. I want to take a look at the yield on the 10-year Treasury note. It bottomed in September, right around when Powell actually started to cut the federal funds rate. And then we saw the US dollar actually bottom a little bit after that. Now, they both started to go up. Gold was actually still doing well. Gold peaked really in late October, started to roll over just a little bit here. And then what did we see? We saw Donald Trump become elected. And if we take a look here, look what happened to the US dollar. That was a rapid ascent, a lot of money pouring into the US dollar. And that steep line was just too much for gold to overcome. And at the same time, we had yields increasing. It was just too much of a situation. So what we want to monitor here is gold actually looks like it's perhaps become oversold and starting to pick up its price momentum. If we start to see the US dollar lose some of its strength relative to world currencies, that would really help to give gold a boost here at this time. And likewise, if we start to see the yield on the 10-year Treasury note head lower, if they both head lower, that could provide rocket fuel for gold coming into a strong seasonal period.